He was at a neighbor's house. His parents had gone inside, and they were all talking in a way that was not the way people usually talked. He had seen their faces. Something had happened, and they spoke in low voices. They were talking about someone who was not there. They had put the boy on the porch with someone bigger than he was, but not as big as the people inside. The other person was different from him. The person's voice was more like his mother's than his father's. When the person spoke, he thought something might happen, something that had nothing to do with the other thing that had happened, and that this person on the porch would make it happen. He was early in his 3rd year. Time passed. His grandparents and his aunt and uncle lived nearby, past where the geese blocked the road and hissed at him and made him cry. He went with his uncle Ernest Graves to the cornfield one day and lagged behind. He fell full length into a muddy puddle. The uncle carried him home, and his Aunt Lola made him presentable. A long time afterward, he would learn about the time before his memory ran. His Aunt Lola said, "You were the squallingest baby that ever was. I spent many an hour rocking you in an old straight chair. A rocking chair wouldn't do. You wanted to be rocked in that old straight chair. Every time it rocked, it would thump hard against the floor." His uncle Reuben Reed, one of his father's many brothers, teased the hero all his life. "One day when you were a little over a year old, I was taking a nap on the front porch, and you came running out without a diaper on. You jumped up on my chest and peed all over me." Time races. The boy is 4. They are all in the storm cellar. The boy is not afraid. He is intensely interested. When they leave the cellar, they see that their house has been moved off its foundation. They learn that Mr. and Mrs. Hill's house, down a path through the woods, has been blown away. "Mr. Hill," she had said to him, "don't you think we'd better get to a safer place?" "Yes, Mrs. Hill, I think we'd better," he had replied. Respectable married people of their generation did not call their mates by their first names. The Hills went out and lay in a ditch and watched as their house splintered and swept over them. The boy is 5 years old in the fading photograph. He is wearing a white shirt, a necktie, and wool knickers, and is seated with his legs crossed. His eyes are narrowed and fixed on the near distance. His mouth is shut fiercely, and he seems to harbor a strong opinion. The boy is 5 in another picture, one printed only in an old man's memory. He has been put in the backyard to tend his baby sister. She toddles into hot coals in the trash pile and is taken to the doctor. He is ashamed. The boy is 7. His friend is a girl a year older. They are walking on a woods trail to a neighbor's house. The girl stops and points through the trees. The boy sees a distant stump. "What is that?" she says. He does not know. "It is a bear," she says. The boy agrees. He is learning to swim. He edges into the swift current of the Washita River, and the water takes him away. His Uncle Ernest pulls him out, rescuing him a second time. Later that year, on a stormy spring night, he is spending the night at the uncle's when the grown-ups decide it is time to go to the storm cellar under the house. They rouse the boy from a deep sleep and send him ahead while they gather coats and a kerosene lamp. They get to the cellar, and the boy is not there. Worried voices, frantic shouts. Then they find him. Having missed the cellar door, he has wandered on through the darkness and fallen back asleep on the dry ground under the wooden floor of the house. The family is riding in a car. His little sister opens the forward-slung rear door. The wind seizes it. She is pulled out of the seat and sucked toward the pavement. The mother whirls from the front seat and grabs the disappearing dress tail and holds on until the father stops the car.